Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So, Scorpio, I know it's so hit or miss with us, isn't it? Sometimes I'm releasing Scorpio readings, sometimes I'm not. I apologize. I know. You come looking for them and you're like, where's my new reading? So we're just going to have to switch the way I do my schedules, and I'm going to post about that. And I'm also going to start posting the day before, so everybody knows what's coming out the next day. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. I have a daughter, and I'm running my house and our business, and I have all the excuses, right? It gets busy. It gets busy. But I thank you so much for being here with me. Now, Scorpio, we have the Magician card tonight, which makes sense to me. Who is more of a natural magician than a Scorpio? Maybe a Cancer. Possibly. But definitely Scorpio. Okay, you all are so creative. You are good at, it's not even just like, they're good at decorating houses or, putting together a party or, managing a team of people at work or whatever it is. It's not just that. You are good at these things, of course, but you create a world. Like, it's like going to, just like some little kid's birthday party that, sometimes you gotta spend like $20 on the whole thing, and you know what that's gonna look like. Versus going to Disney World. Right? You go into Disney World and you're in a whole other universe. That's what Scorpio is capable of. You're not putting together some little dinky thing. No, you create a whole experience. And I don't just mean party planning or keeping the house together or, within your job. I really mean from the ground up, all aspects of your life. You are just so good at weaving together the dream. Okay? So you are the magician. Absolutely. Through and through. Now, we're going to see how this energy affects these tea leaves. And now we're going to go ahead. We're going to turn this thing all the way. And I'm going to... Okay, here we go. And we'll just take a look here. We're going to spin this around. Now, if this is your first time at the channel, welcome. And if this is your first time ever seeing a tea leaf reading, welcome, welcome, welcome. How exciting, right? So basically what we do here is we're going to look through these little formations, like for instance, right here we have the number 6. You can see right there. It could also be that we have the letter G, and it could be G-I, which would be gi, and that kind of makes sense. My daughter, if you know what a gi is, it is a martial arts uniform used in jiu-jitsu. My daughter does jiu-jitsu. We were actually at a tournament this weekend. And so these are the kinds of things we're looking for. Now, I'm looking at this more as 6, and then we have, it looks like a 1. So I'm going to look at this as 61. Now, over here, we also have the number 202. Okay, 202. And we'll just keep spinning this thing here. Now, if you're returning to the channel, if you are an avid viewer, or maybe you just come once in a while, thank you for coming back. It's so nice to see you again. I am excited about this new season that we are in. We've been getting so many wild revelations and breakthroughs. I just feel like I am fully immersed in synchronicity right now. And I hope that you also are experiencing similar energy. And so now here comes the cat. She heard me talking, so she's going to meow at my door. Don't worry, there are other people home and she is just fine. She just really likes her mama. All right, so we're going to start over here. We have two people. Let's see. We have one standing here, and here's the head. Okay, I got to text my husband real quick. Let's see. I'm just... I just said, cat, call, please. Oh, the cat, not me. Sometimes I got to text him so he can call her name and she'll come running to him. Okay, so we have the two people. Now, this one looks like an older person because they are a little taller, okay? And I really get this feeling of almost like a little brother or maybe a little cousin, maybe even, your child. Likely masculine. I can't tell you why I feel these things sometimes because it's not really indicated so much in the drawing, but what I do see is it looks like they have like an old-timey police cap on, and it feels like somebody who would like dress up and play cops and robbers, back in the day when that was really a popular thing to pretend play. And I feel like there is this energy of kind of being a caretaker, watching over, young enough that I feel like you were really involved in their growing up and in a very direct way. Like you were down there on the floor playing too. You were dressing up like cops and robbers, running around the backyard together. And I feel like this is a bond that is unbreakable, that has followed you through life. And I think that, this is probably something that you look at and you reminisce in a very sentimental, loving, these are the like warm memories, right? They like the ones that are golden, they glow. The laughing, the giggling, the just kind of making things up and getting far into that imaginary world together. And so I feel, and this is something, I don't know, it's sad, but I do feel like maybe this person, this brother, this cousin, this maybe your child, let me just say, God forbid, right? Maybe passed away at a younger age, because I feel like there's almost a sense of them remaining the same in your mind even still. Now, it doesn't have to be that they passed away. Sometimes what looks like the end of an active relationship, a bond, or the person being absent from your life, their energy doesn't seem to still be actively there. Sometimes it is an estrangement, or possibly, this person moved away, they have their own life, you barely talk anymore, you kind of grew apart, this kind of thing. So I do feel like there is a almost sense of wanting to maybe get back in touch, or to I feel like you have a desire to commune with this person, and I think that's really the big thing. There's something going on in your life, and it might be an anniversary, it might be, their birthday, or maybe there's a holiday, or this time of year was, one that was very exciting for everybody, and when it comes around, you start to, you know, think of these old times and these relationships, these connections. So I feel like there is a sense of trying to figure out, like, what do I do to begin this process? Okay. You know, and I don't know. I'm very bad at giving advice about reconnecting with people, except for, you know, I'm a real believer in just saying what you feel. As long as we are not harming anybody intentionally, but even if we can begin to conceive of like, okay, if I come back into their life, it's really going to be destabilizing for them. You know, for me, in my own personal life, I don't have contact with my family of origin. A couple of people in the family, but other than that, no. And there are certain family members that I know if I tried to get in contact with them and have any kind of, you know, deep and emotional discussion, I feel like it would be detrimental, not only to myself, but probably them as well, because it's been so long, you know, and I don't know that it's really necessary anymore. And so I feel like if you have that kind of, you know, that thing that says, I don't know about this. This might be not the right way to go about this or whatever, then I feel like you should really at least slow it down. Consider, right? Consider how you're going to approach this. But other than that, you know, I feel like we should say how we feel, right? And if you miss somebody, if you love somebody, if you are hoping or, you know, you need to apologize or make amends or whatever it is, just do it. If you need to write something down or make a like kind of an outline of what you want to say, yeah, I get that. Or maybe you have to write a letter first because that's how you can communicate. Do it. You know, there's no right or wrong way, but we need to try to go into these kinds of situations if this person is still alive and, you know, out there waiting to hear from you, or maybe they don't, they're not waiting, they don't, you know, they're going about their life and so on. We have to be considerate of their feelings, but also ours, right? How is this going to affect us? So I do think that it's something to really think about and make a plan. But, you know, Scorpio, I know that you're just going to say how you feel. You know, I know. You're not somebody to hold it back too much. As I always say, because I'm a Virgo, I feel so much like Virgos and Scorpios are like twinsies, except for Scorpio's like the more interesting version, right? Like you're the cool one, you're the more interesting, charming one. Now I'm sorry, my fellow Virgos. We are also interesting and charming, but in a different way. We're not as fiery, and I'm sorry again, we're not as alluring, right? And but I feel like we're both Virgos and Scorpio really good at just saying what it is, right? Okay, so we have the lamb as well, right in here. You can see here's the head, here's the body. And to me, I almost feel like we have the goddess with the crescent moon on her head. So we have like this Venus energy, Diana energy, Hathor, the middle goddess energy. We also have a large fish over here, a koi. So I do feel like there's a big emphasis on needing to pay attention to your sleep, getting enough of it, getting restorative sleep, making sure that you are not pushing yourself too hard, that you are taking time to recharge, okay? I think a lot of this, it's like you're starting to feel run down because you've been going so hard lately. You have so much on your plate. Your list is forever long, and it's just kind of this constant like push to keep going. And so I feel like this is important, and that's what the fish is about as well, because the koi is all about prosperity, longevity, good health, all these kind of really auspicious and wonderful blessings that we hope for. But we can't have these things unless we are taking care of like the fundamental things that we need, which are sleep and water and sustenance and, intentional movement and so on and so forth. Getting fresh air, hopefully getting some sunlight, all these kinds of things are really integral to our well-being, like at a very base level. And so I think that, this is kind of just a good reminder to maybe reevaluate what you're doing. What's your schedule like? Are you kind of slipping in areas? Are there things that you need to get back to? Your practices, your, and I mentioned intentional movement, things like that. I have shared on here, I've been on like a health journey this last year. And most of it has been about building up my body and being able to have endurance and stamina and flexibility. And, you can tell I'm getting a little older because one of my big goals is to be able to continue to be able to get off the ground, right? And I know if you're younger, you might think, what the heck are you talking about? What does that mean? Well, if you don't work on it, you will lose it. And that is just literally if you sit on the ground or if you happen to, take a little slip or a fall or whatever, and you get to a point where it's hard to get yourself up. It happens to a lot of people as we get older. So we have to actively practice getting up. And again, I know you might be saying, what the heck, Lenor? It is a worthwhile pursuit. I'm just going to say that. So I see you, maybe getting this little reminder that, let's kind of look over what is my well-being routine. Now, it doesn't have to just be physical. This could also be spiritual, emotional, and so on. But I do feel like this is a lot about needing to get some rest and let yourself kind of recharge, okay? We also have that lunar goddess that we were talking about, the middle goddess. So we have this mother energy, and, I feel like this is something that you have been experiencing, especially in the evening, at night, maybe dreaming about some form of the goddess. She will show herself to us in so many forms, right? She shows up with different faces and different bodies and animal form, or, maybe you just hear her, you don't see her. Whatever it is, I feel like she is so much around you right now, okay? And for whatever reason, and this might have to do with the first thing that we were talking about with that younger male energy and the older sibling or mother, a young mother or father, caretaker, cousin, whoever, whatever role you were playing. But I feel like in this mother energy kind of showing up, it kind of makes sense to me if this was like maybe the younger male was like maybe a family member, a sibling. Because you have this kind of what is the word? Kind of this lingering essence around you that I feel like is maybe your actual mother, but it could also be kind of the consciousness of the mother archetype. And this is what is kind of propelling you towards working on this. I'm not going to call it a blockage, but it is this emotional thing that I don't think you look at a lot, right? And I don't know that you have begun to process or integrate. Maybe it's something that, you know, it happened a long time ago and you don't like to dwell on things. But I do feel like the mother goddess energy, the mother energy, kind of, I can just imagine kind of like putting their hand softly on your shoulder and like walking you towards working on this emotional tangle. We'll call it a tangle, not a blockage or a knot, right? Okay, now we're going to go over here. It looks like we have a large bird, maybe like a heron or crane or stork or something like this, in a nest, okay? Again, to me, this really emphasizes contemplation. These large lake birds absolutely are always tied to contemplation for me. If you've ever watched any of them while they are hanging out on, you know, in the tall grass of the marsh, or they're on the side on the beach waiting for a fish to come into the shallow or whatever it is, they look like they're hanging out and just thinking. You know, they just stand real still and they kind of just look at the water, and next thing you know, they strike, right? Sometimes it takes 10 minutes, sometimes it takes an hour, but they're out there and they are, there is a resolve, right? They know they're going to get their lunch, and dang it, they're not leaving until they do. So I feel like for you, and with the nest included here, I feel like this really is. It is about thinking about those origins, those that place that you come from, where you kind of went through your formative years and your conditioning, and you know, all of the aspects that kind of come up during childhood. So I do feel like you really are kind of maybe even a little bit dissociated from your present life and very much in your memories and your dreams, and kind of living in that space. Now, I think all of this is really important, especially when you have that magician energy. And that is because so often when we go through these kind of it's like a safari through our memories, right? We are spectators. We're here to witness and look through these old things that, you know, taken place who knows how long ago, right? And so I feel like for the magician energy, we need this because this is where we find so many fragments that are so potent of information about life and ourself. And, you know, we get ideas and inspirations and really rediscovering sensations and feelings that maybe we haven't felt since we were kids. If you've ever had that experience where you like eat something like some kind of candy or like a old recipe your grandma used to make or whatever, and you taste it and it takes you right back to your childhood. That's the energy that we're in right now. Okay? And that's what we're looking for. I feel like you are in there, you're like a hunter-gatherer. You have your little, you know, your knapsack, and you're filling it with the things that you're finding as you are doing this self-work. And what will you do with those fragments that you find? Well, begin to construct a tomorrow, right? Begin to construct something beautiful and interesting and you know, something that really flows in your own voice. And I think that's the most beautiful thing A wonderful place to be in your creativity. Okay, so we have the number 5. It looks like 529. 529. Okay, 529, and we have a peacock who is roosting. So I almost kind of feel like there is a lack of interest in other people and any kind of courtship or flirtation or anything like that. I don't think you could give two hoots about it. You are fully immersed in your own world, your own work right now. And again, that's not a bad place to be. I actually love when I get into that place. Very close to the flow. Okay, we have number 88. What a number. I just read that Pope Francis, safe travels, sir, into the great unknown, passed away at 88. And I was like, wow, I keep seeing that number lately. So we have 88. So that, again, another 88, 29, 56. All right. Now we're going to end with our Indigo Sage affirmation cards. And I'm just going to flip through here and stop where it feels right. And it says, number 26, flourishing, imagination, with your sacred heart as the compass, soul bright, create the new, and so it is. Create the new, and so it is. Wonderful. All right. Well, Scorpio, I want to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I'm going to say again, I love you. I hope that you're enjoying your spring or your late fall. We're almost into summer, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, winter, of course. And I'd love to hear, what are you planning for your next season? What's going on? Do you have any big trips coming up? Do you have any plans? Are you going to be working on the house? Are you going to be working in the yard? Yeah, I would love to hear from you. Also, if you have any prayer requests, please put them in the comments, or you can email them to me at ulaishere@gmail.com. All right. I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk in a few days. Good night. Good night. Good night.